Behind me is the road intersection known as Five Forks, here in Dinwiddie County, Virginia, just a few miles west of the city of Petersburg. The battle fought here on April 1st of 1865 is sometimes referred to as the Waterloo of the Confederacy, and it will have a big impact in forcing Lee to abandon Petersburg and the Confederate capital of Richmond the next day on April 2nd of 1865. We are standing just a few miles from the South Side Railroad, and by late March of 1865, that is the last railroad supplying Lee's soldiers in Petersburg. It is now Grant's #1 target. We last left you at the Battle of Fort Stedman, where Lee had tried to attack the Union positions and get his army out of this trap that Grant has now around Petersburg. That Confederate attack had failed. Lee had lost several thousand irreplaceable veterans, and now Grant has the initiative. He's going to wait for the cavalry under General Philip Sheridan to arrive here from the Shenandoah Valley, and in the last few days of March he will begin his movement in this direction, trying to get around the right flank or the western end of Lee's army. This intersection becomes important because of its proximity to that railroad. Last few days of March there is fighting behind me along the White Oak Road. Union cavalry and infantry are involved, pushing the Confederates back, taking the Boydton Plank Road, cutting that other vital supply route, and now Five Forks becomes the next target. Robert E. Lee is going to send a force of infantry and cavalry, about 10,000 strong, under the command of General George Pickett, same Pickett from Gettysburg. His orders are to hold Five Forks at all hazards. General Philip Sheridan, with his cavalry and the 5th Corps Infantry under General Gouverneur Warren, on April 1st will attack this position. Late in the afternoon, the Confederates have set up defensive positions, trenches along the White Oak Road behind me for nearly a mile in length. But by late afternoon, General Pickett no longer believes an attack is coming. He will fall back to basically Hatcher's Run, creek behind me, and in the company of General Fitzhugh Lee, commanding the cavalry, they will have a shad bake, which is an excuse not only to eat some fish, but also to drink some whiskey. Therefore, Pickett will not be here when the attack hits about 4 o'clock that afternoon. Sheridan's cavalry will be attacking from behind me, from the south, and Warren's infantry will come crashing through the Confederate flank in this direction. As a result of this battle, within about 2 hours, Pickett's force is crushed. Several thousand Confederate soldiers become prisoners, nearly 1,000 more are killed or wounded, and this entire position is nearly wiped out. Now, Union soldiers are just a few miles from that South Side Railroad. And when General Grant learns the result of this battle, he will order for the next morning a series of attacks up and down the Confederate lines. When the 6th Corps breaks through Lee's lines just south of Petersburg that next morning on April 2nd, Robert E. Lee will have no choice but to abandon Petersburg and Richmond that night.